Network. Today we're at Memphis Motorsports Park for the 6th annual four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Lee alongside Army Armstrong, and these Jamborees represent a kaleidoscope of sound and color and activity for the truck lovers.
Gary, it's almost like when you were a kid and you went to the zoo. Now you may wonder about that, Lee, but what I'm going to talk about is look over our shoulder. The brand new truck on the circuit goes by the name of Snakebite. Now this guy nobody knows anything about. He goes by the name of Colt Cobra. The name of the truck is Snakebite, and he came and put the word out. I don't like any of those other monster trucks. I'm going to beat them all in Memphis.
Well, we'll see if he can. We have side-by-side monster truck competition coming up next. In Memphis Motorsports Park, it's the 6th annual Pendant Liner, Bed Liners, four-wheel Jamboree Spring Nationals. All part of the General Tire Special Events Performance Series. A unique format, a 12-truck field, 10 by invitation, 2 from open qualifying. Any MTRA member can come out and try to qualify to make the field. But the real story today could be the track and the high jumps. Here with more on that is Army Armstrong.
Well, Gary, one of the big questions today, it seems to keep popping up, is the question of ramps. Now, those of you that follow monster trucks, you've heard us use the terminology before. That's the incline the trucks take before they go over the obstacles, in this case, the car. What they're running into here, the second ramp, if you will, is too steep. It's giving the guys way, way too much air. Now, what that does is throw them over a big open pit after the first set of cars. The second ramp is causing all kind of problems here today and get you in a whole lot of trouble if you don't watch it.
Army, we have an example of that from qualifying. Here is Snakebite, the 91 Ford with that fiberglass doghouse. He gets in trouble coming over the second ramp right here.
Yeah, when he lands, his name comes true. He is snake-bit. Left rear tire goes away, now the left front. He's got his hands full trying to get ready for the first round, Gary.
And also with some problems, another Ford, Bigfoot, and under that tube-frame truck is Andy Brass.
Yeah, but Gary, the word we're getting, they're thrashing, trying to get the drivetrain squared away. Will they make the first round? We're going to have to wait and see.
Here are the pairings for round one. Barefoot, the fast qualifier against King Crunch, and Snakebite, the open qualifier against No Problem. Then it's Equalizer against another open qualifier, Wild Thing, and Taurus will take on Nightlife. Also in round one, USA-1 against Bigfoot, Chevrolet against Ford, and the Carolina Crusher against Nightmare. Round one competition from Memphis Motorsports Park. Here is another tube-frame truck, Barefoot, the Chevrolet Fred Schaefer out of Pontoon Beach, Illinois.
Gary, you know, you're giving us a rundown a moment ago on the pairings as he goes up against Scott Stevens out of Texas. Well, the Barefoot truck is your current national champion with one of the sanctioning bodies, the SRO pays people, so he's carrying their colors too. Chevrolet's a pair. Let's see what's going to happen. Advantage should go to the Barefoot by virtue of being the new chassis setup. But
look at the air that he has.
Tremendous hang time by Schaefer. He completely cleared both sets of cars, Gary Lee.
Well, Barefoot in a tube-frame truck, a Chevrolet, knocks out another Chevrolet, the Auto Value King Crunch.
Boy, Scott Stevens with the cantilever truck ran him hard, but the new truck, the new technology, we're going to be talking about that the rest of the day. Watch the amount of time he stays near. Look at that.
Yeah, look at the air time. When you talk about technology, you're talking about suspensions. You can see the suspension work here on Barefoot. He takes the victory, a $100,000 truck that took 6 months to build. Let's go back and talk to the driver, Army.
Fred, you're going through this first round on a unique track and a unique situation. What's it like out there?
It seems like I'm getting a lot of air. It's kind of hard to tell. It's a split-second thing, but it seems like I've got a lot of hang time up there.
What about the transmission? You run a different transmission, a lot of these guys. Is that an advantage to you on the start?
I think it is, but right now I'm messing with the gears and transfer case, and I really don't know what I'm supposed to do on this track here. I'm trying to feel it out, so I might be changing that between rounds.
And look at a home state hero. Here is young Greg Holbrook in the GMC Equalizer. He comes in from Springfield, Tennessee.
But Gary, one of the interesting stories this afternoon from Memphis will be the truck he's going up against. The first time Jim Booker ever sat in a monster truck was yesterday afternoon. He just motored around a pit area, and he qualified for one of the 2 open spots. But who does he draw? None other than one of the baddest of the bad, the Equalizer.
Talk about going to school and getting an education. Look at the air time in the Equalizer. He almost gets disqualified by going out of bounds. He has a problem, and Booker's going to take the victory.
The first time ever in open competition, qualifies to run with the big boys and beats one of the biggest, but the big story might be right there. Holbrook looks like the whole rear suspension has collapsed, Gary.
Well, you saw the air that he got over the first jump in the set of cars. He came down, almost went out of bounds. We'll look again. Now watch the air. He comes down, he's headed out of bounds. He has to stay on the throttle, tries to get the truck lined up for the second jump, and he has trouble right there.
Gary, the old second jump is what caught him. He hit those ramps a little bit crooked and caused the whole rear suspension to collapse. Now, the owner of the truck, Gary Cook, goes over there checking it. And, oh, the word we're getting, they've done a lot more than suspension damage. We understand the engine has actually been damaged. It sits behind the driver. And the word we're getting is that Gary Cook and some of his backyard engineering may have caught up with him. Some pieces really broke. A lot of pieces broke, Gary. But let's take a ride with him and see what it's all about.
It's a short ride, but a rough ride inside the cab of Equalizer with young Greg Holbrook. A good crowd on hand here for the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals, bathed in sunshine here at Memphis Motorsports Park as we take a look at Wayne Smozanik, the 1990 Chevy called Nightlife out of Jupiter, Florida.
Well, people are familiar with the name of the truck, Nightlife. Dave Wysorek used to own it. Wayne just bought the truck. And who's he going up against in the first round? Jack Willman Jr. out of Granite City, Illinois, with the Tonka truck they call the Taurus.
That'll be a tall order for Wayne to knock out Taurus here in round one in Memphis.
We keep talking about the technology of the truck. One of the newer technology trucks will be the Tonka truck. And I want you to notice how quick it moves. But the left front seems to tuck on him real bad. Look at this. Again, both jumps, the left front nosed over, Gary.
Well, not once, but twice, Jackie Willman Jr. almost went out of bounds. Let's watch again. He has to fight that thing. That's like a race car pushing through a corner, and you're struggling to get that thing turned.
You know, you're not only dealing with left and rights and ups and downs in monster truck racing, you're dealing with pitch and yaw, too, Gary. That's a perfect example.
Now you're using those aviation terms. Let's talk to young Jack.
Jack, the landings look so critical, but you're just clipping the last vehicles on both jumps.
Yeah, I only run in second gear on the transmission on that run. I could have probably used high gear and it would have put me out there farther and have been a little bit smoother landing, but I didn't know, and I was just trying to make that race.
Well, we'll see young Jack Willman Jr. in round two, but right now, as Everett Jasper in the USA-1 shirt standing on top the junkers, he is lining up his driver, Steve Wilke, USA-1.
Yeah, but Gary, look who he's going up against. You talk about a classic battle. No love lost. White truck, Chevrolet. Blue truck is Ford. Andy Brass going against Steve Wilke. The old-time rivalry stays alive in Memphis. Ford versus Chevrolet. Let's kick back and just watch this one.
Steve Wilke in the white USA-1, the blue Bigfoot. Oh, Andy Brass gets the hole shot.
Boy, Brass drilled him on the starting line. Wilke trying to pull back.
Wilke was never in this event. Once that Christmas tree went green, Brass was gone.
Oh, Gary, you're exactly right. When that light turned green, that big blue Ford ran a riot after the USA-1 Chevrolet. Everett Jasper under the truck trying to figure it out. I think what happened here was Steve Wilke just flat made Andy Brass mad, told him he was going to beat him off the start line, and Brass no way was going to concede to that.
Wilke may have some explaining to do. Let's eavesdrop on the conversation with owner and driver.
I feel bad. But again, I didn't see him. I didn't see him until he was here. Yeah. So I must have been right with him, you know.
Well, obviously, Steve didn't see the same race that we saw because he was not right with him. Bigfoot takes the victory, and here is your winner, Andy Brass with Army Armstrong.
Well, Gary, in any motorsport, mind games is a part of it. Andy, I understand he came up to you before you ran and said he's going to drill you on the starting line. You didn't let that happen.
That's right. You know, in a lot of this game here, there's going to be a lot of real close racing, so you got to play the light real good. You know, I hit the light right. You know, I'm pretty sure, you know, I was almost positive in my mind that we pulled a green light. You know, they thought we red lighted, but I was almost positive it was green, and it was. So that's all it took, you know. And like I say, it's the light. I think it's going to make a lot of racing here today.
The action will continue from Memphis Motorsports Park. And what other color would you expect in the birthplace of the Blues? Nationals, Army Armstrong and Gary Lee. Round one action continuing. To your left, the Carolina Crusher. To the right, Nightmare.
Gary, what we're going to be looking at is Steve Haston, Nightmare, the same truck he's been running for about 6 or 7 years. It's a GMC, but he goes up against a brand new Gary Porter prepared Wadesville, North Carolina-based Carolina Crusher. Fiberglass body, really looking good, Gary.
Well, Nightmare looks like he got the good jump, but here comes Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher. Nightmare's in trouble.
Okay, perfect example on this run. The older suspension trucks are too stiff. They're rigid. That's why Hess had problems. Meanwhile, Porter goes through with the new sponge-type suspension, and he'll go into the next round.
A new paint job to go along with that new fiberglass body truck. And here is the good jump off the start. And here's the difference right here as they land that first time.
Okay, you notice how Porter stays close to the ground. Hess is bouncing all over. The race is over for all intents and purposes, Gary Lee.
And of course, with the new suspensions, simply meaning more money spent on the trucks to be competitive. And that's kind of the rule of motorsports. How fast you want to go, how competitive you want to be, how much money you want to spend.
That's exactly what it's all about. Now, speaking of spending money, nobody knows anything at all about this next vehicle coming out. We know that he comes out of Cobra Creek, Colorado. He goes by the name of Colt Cobra, and he doesn't mess with anybody. He came in, he stayed all to himself. He's going to be going up against Tennessee's own John Moore with the truck they call No Problem.
Talk about problems, though. They had problems with their tow rig getting in here.
Yeah, it was completely demolished in a highway accident. Gary Cook, the owner of the Equalizer, had to go back and pick up the No Problem team and bring them down here. But the question now, what's the story on the snake bite truck? Hey, John Moore's not afraid of it. He's going after him.
But once again, a lot of bouncing between those cars, and who's going to win it?
Moore, yeah.
By a nose.
Moore comes back on the big end, the short wheelbase truck. That would have to be considered an upset.
So John Moore in the Ford product takes the measure of Snakebite, but watch, Snakebite had him all the way until the very end of this run.
The second set of ramps, we opened the show telling you about him right there. He misses those ramps, Gary. He was completely out of shape. Moore stayed with what's got him there, just stayed consistent. He'll go to the next round.
Well, look at this. Here is the driver of Snakebite, Colt Cobra.
I'll be back.
Okay, we'll take that promise. As we take a look now at the results going into round two, it will be Barefoot against No Problem. Wild Thing will match up against Taurus. Bigfoot will see the Carolina Crusher. And remember, the fastest second round time will have a bye to the finals.
Well, Gary, here's the Cinderella story we were telling you about. Jim Booker, this time yesterday, had never been in a monster truck. He drove it around a pit area, won his first round, but it's going to get tougher as you go deeper into this field because old Taurus is going to be pulling up on the left lane, going heads up to him. Taurus, again, one of the new trucks, the soft truck. This is the driver's father, Jack Willman Sr., Jr. doing the driving, sponsorships by the Tonka Toy Company. But in order to win, you got to be first on the other end, and look at that, Gary Lee.
Willman cut a good line, had the horsepower. Look at the air, and he has the victory.
Yeah, but Gary, the truck's doing the same thing. It noses over to the left, and he still goes a 6:81, under 7 seconds on this track, Gary.
Remember, that's important because the fastest run will have a bye to the finals. Willman got the good jump, then powered through that second set of cars, takes the victory, but it was not without some problems. Here's Army.
What's the problem down here?
I broke a couple rear shock bolts. It's kind of minor. We just, you know, need to get on and get her fixed.
You will be able to get back in the next round?
I believe so. I don't know how much time we got, but we're going to try.
What a great story. Son driving for father, and they're trying to get that truck ready for the next round of competition here in Memphis. So you go from driver to mechanic, and here's the guy that drives them, works on them, Andy Brass in Bigfoot 8 out of St. Louis, Missouri. Along with Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher. These guys have faced each other many times before.
You know, that's so very true, but every time they go to the starting line, they put the war paint on. The friendship goes out the window. It's the first one to the other end. The 681 is quick time. Brass drills the left lane, comes out going hard. Look at this run, Gary. Again.
Oh, Andy Brass, he almost goes out of bounds, just barely keeps it in. Let's check the time. Look at that.
Hey, Gary, check these numbers. A 6:43 out of the left lane, but a lot of damage to be done to the vehicles. Everybody's landing cockeyed to the left. Replay's going to show us right now.
Coming right at you. Watch Andy Brass and Bigfoot land hard on the left side tires. That Bigfoot may have stubbed a toe on that one as they look at some possible damage. Let's talk to Andy Brass.
Every time you and Porter go together, it's like an old-time street fight. There's no difference right there.
That's right. You know, Gary's been running strong. He's built one of the new trucks. It's been running real good, and we just had to stay with it, you know. And like I said, I got knocked out of qualifying a little earlier, so I'm trying to get used to the track now, and I'm just playing as hard as I can.
Here's another new truck that's been running very, very good. Fred Schaefer, Pontoon Beach, Illinois, in Barefoot, the Chevrolet. And he takes on the Ford, No Problem, John Moore out of Lafayette, Tennessee.
Well, this is kind of an awkward situation to be in because one of these trucks is going to make it through the next round. The other one's going to go on a trailer, the Tonka-sponsored vehicle, Chevrolet left lane Barefoot. He's your current world champion in the SRO pace category. Looks to be manhandling the the Ford. Oh, Gary, he completely cleared the last set of cars.
Well, let's take a look now at the time to see if he can get that bye into the finals. Remember, the time to beat was 6:43. He doesn't do it. A 6:57. That means that Bigfoot will have the bye to the finals. Look at the air. Watch the second jump.
He cleared the last car by about 8 feet. Gary, everybody paid a price to get through that round.
We are ready for the semifinal action here at Memphis Motorsports Park, part of the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals.
Gary, look at the lineup. The SRO National Champion Barefoot, he'll be going against the Taurus. He represents the USA organization. And Bigfoot, he'll be representing TNT. Only 3 alive in Memphis at this time.
And Army Bigfoot will have the bye to the finals. He had the quickest quarterfinal round.
Well, Gary, down to 3, all these youngsters, they know the trucks they're going to be pulling for because all the trucks in the final are going to be sponsored by a major toy company. The Tonka trucks will be going to see who's going to run against Bigfoot. He's sponsored by Hot Wheels.
Well, there's a look at Taurus, the 88 GMC, sponsored by Tonka. And there's a look at Barefoot, the 90 Chevrolet, also sponsored by Tonka.
Well, Gary, the handwriting's on the wall. In order to get to the final here, you had to run the latest state-of-the-art chassis design.
Well, this is a shootout between Barefoot and Taurus for the right to meet Bigfoot in the championship here at Memphis, Tennessee.
And laying all the cards on the table, I'm going to be very upfront. There is no love at all between these two trucks.
Well, both get a good start side by side, but over the second one, oh, it's out of bounds for Barefoot. Barefoot will be disqualified. They lose the left rear tire on Taurus. He's in trouble.
These guys, I keep referring to an old-time street fight. Man, this was a classic example. Barefoot disqualified. Taurus goes so hard. Look on the final jump now. They're clearing the first jump now. But I want you to watch Wellman. Right now, he literally pulls the trigger and clears by about 5 or 6 cars that final jump as he goes past his father, who, by the way, is dodging to get away from Barefoot.
He's jumping behind that telephone pole right there to miss Barefoot, as Barefoot is disqualified for going out of bounds. Now, father and son look over the damage to the left rear.
But he run out of bounds.
Yeah, the tire ain't broken in front. It's talking money. I mean, I had the bars holding it. I mean, I could go over the cars.
Okay.
I mean, seriously, if we can get some air.
Gary, I think they're going to try to get back in this thing.
Give us a few minutes, get some air.
Do we got 5 minutes? Ask him. Tell him I can run.
Taurus says he can run if he's got 5 minutes.
Well, we need some air. We need some air.
You got it.
Well, he might not be much of a match for Bigfoot in the finals, but they're going to try it. Let's look again. Now, watch, they're very even right here. Now, watch Barefoot head out of bounds and look at the air as he noses down. But once again, young Willman keeps the foot on the throttle and powers out. Well, Army, check and see if he can make the finals.
Okay, Jack, you got a 5-minute clock going for you. Can you make it?
Yeah, all I need is a little bit of air. I done some more damage under there, but as long as I can make the pass, you know, I can get second place. It was a tough run.
A little bit of air. Look at the rear tire. Looks like it's major damage.
Yeah, well, the front bead is off, which is obvious to see, and the back is on, so it'll take air just as soon as I can get air. So we're talking a couple minutes, and I can be back on the track.
We'll see you there.
Thank you.
Bigfoot and Taurus in the finals from Memphis.
The results are in.
Memphis, these four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Nationals are loaded with activities for the truck enthusiasts and the entire family. For information, call or write the Special Events Company.
Well, Gary, the air is there, and it's final time in Memphis. The classic battle of Chevrolet going against Ford, Taurus going against Bigfoot.
Well, this Taurus is injured. The question is, will he actually make an attempt or just present himself to get second-place points? It's Bigfoot with Andy Brass, Jack Willman Jr., and yes, he just makes an appearance for second place, prize money and points, and Bigfoot will take the victory. No competition there.
No, Andy Brass definitely, you know, he went ahead and made a run out of it. The rumor mill was saying Taurus is not going to run hard, but you don't roll over. You don't let anybody walk into the next round. These guys did exactly what they had to do. They gave it their best shot. It was not to be their day, but his truck won.
Well, young driver in the making right there. Let's talk to our victor, Andy Brass.
Okay, Andy, when you went to the final, did you think he was going to run you out the back door?
Well, we knew he was going to run. You know, I tried to look at it, take a good look at his truck when he was backing up to the line to see if it, you know, if it was still broke. You know, it was leaning a little bit to the driver's side, it looked like, so I figured he busted one of his shocks and he wouldn't run that hard. So we just kind of got him off the line. I didn't hear him coming, so we just kind of took it easy.
Our congratulations to Andy Brass as we take a look at father and son. They'll take second place points and prize money here in Memphis, Tennessee. Army, that looks like something I could handle.
No, I'll tell you what, Gary Lee, you're more of a pedal car kind of guy.
For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. That wraps it up from Memphis Motorsports Park. See you next week for another edition of Trucks and Tractor Power. Now stay tuned for an exciting home video from Diamond P Sports. It's time to shake. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the superstars of the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Nationals Monster Truck Challenge. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. Today we're at Memphis Motorsports Park for the 6th annual four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lee alongside Army Armstrong. And Army Memphis may be recognized for the blues and spicy barbecue, but it's also a hotbed for high-performance components.
You know, Gary, some people have the image that Southern California is the only place they make speed parts. Well, that's wrong, because a lot of speed parts come out of Memphis. About 20 miles from where we're standing, you got such manufacturers as TCI torque converters, competition cam people, racing head service, Sonati camshaft people. What I'm telling you is there's a lot of horsepower that comes out of Memphis. And if you want to see that horsepower used to 100% full potential, buy a ticket to an off-road Jamboree and see these MTRA monster trucks. They will definitely thunder for you.
Side-by-side monster truck competition coming up next. Stay with us. Welcome back to Memphis, Tennessee. Today, a very unique 12-truck format. 12 trucks in the field, 10 by invitation, 2 through open qualifications. Barefoot will take on Bad Medicine in round 1, then it's Snakebite against Nightlife. Also in round 1, the Carolina Crusher against Big Boss, an open qualifier, and Taurus will take on Nightmare. Then it's King Crunch and No Problem, and Bigfoot against the Chevrolet USA-1.
Well, Gary, all the trucks have come to the Memphis area, this tremendous complex, to see who can be the strongest truck in the circuit. We've got national champions from 2 or 3 different organizations. We're going to be telling you about them today. Some new names, such as the Bad Medicine truck we're looking at now. A lot of the guys are coming, laying all the cards on the table, trying to take the big win out of Memphis. Barefoot, Bad Medicine, first race coming at you, Gary.
2 sets of jumps. There's been a problem this weekend with that second jump, the ramp going over that second set of cars, and it's all Barefoot.
Chevrolet Barefoot goes on to take the win. The Dodge Bad Medicine having his share of problems, and it comes back, Gary Lee. It looks to me like Chassis is going to tell the story today.
Well, once again, Barefoot in the far lane gets the good start. Watch that Chassis work as he starts over that second jump, pitches to the right just a bit, and takes the big victory. Another truck coming up is one you have seen before, but a new driver in the cockpit. Wayne Sposanek drives Nightlife. He purchased the truck from Dave Wyzorek, so he's in the cockpit of that Chevrolet.
Yeah, but Gary, one of the big stories in Memphis is the Colt Cobra truck out of Culver Creek, Colorado. Nobody knows anything at all about this truck, this driver, or anything. He came from out of nowhere, and he just laid the cards on the table. He said, I'm not afraid of anybody. I am the best monster truck in the world. But that's talk. This is racing. Let's see what's going to happen.
Well, talk is cheap. Right now they have to talk with that right foot. And Wayne is out in front, and that 91 Chevy Nightlife will take the victory.
Boy, the Cobra kid's going back to Colorado with his tail between his legs after that one.
Yeah, he's been shooting his mouth off somewhat, but he can't produce.
Meanwhile, the Nightlife truck lives up to its billing. This kid just bought the truck, sat down in the driver's seat, and proved that Dave Wyzorek did build a good truck. He says the truck's very easy to handle, and
that's got to be tough, though, for Dave to sell a truck and watch somebody else drive it. But we hear that Dave has another project, and he will be back. Army, let's go back to you and talk to Wayne.
Well, Wayne, I can tell by that run you're not afraid of snakes one bit, are you?
Nah, I don't want to get snake bit.
Pushing it out the back door looked good. Can he make any changes for the next round? He's going to stay the same.
We really had to learn how to drive the track again because they changed the track between qualifying and first round. So I probably throttled a little bit too hard on the other end, but we'll get it sorted out.
You're going to be in the next round. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
As Wayne walks away back to his truck, we get ready for our next pairing, a brand new truck with Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher. I like his paint job as he checks out the competition. Look at those eyes.
Gary, you know, no matter what form of motorsport's in, there's such intensity at this point in time. They started the engines, whether you're coming off the number 4 corner at Raceway Park or you're rolling into the lanes in Memphis, everybody's pumped. Tim Hall will be going in the other lane against the Chevrolet.
This is the Big Boss against the Carolina Crusher.
Well, whole shot by the Carolina Crusher. Porter drilled that tree.
Look at that suspension work. He was
he's in
almost
trouble,
driving
Gary. He's
side
going
down.
over.
He's going over, yes! This is a very short runoff area, really, for the speed they can pick up, and he climbs out. He's going to be all right, but we'll see how much damage was done to that brand new Carolina Crusher.
You know, Gary, I made an observation here. He's running one of the new suspension trucks, meaning it's, it's softer. And the roll of the truck was almost like a sprint car roller with a wing on it. The suspension actually absorbed some of the impact, wouldn't you say?
Well, it looked like he almost got upside down when he came over that second set of jumps. He was tipped over to the left. He brought it back upright. Let's watch again. Now watch as he negotiates the second jump. He comes down and almost pitches off to the driver's side to the left, right here. He brings it back down, but he never really gains control. He's on the brakes now, trying to stop it. When he turns to avoid that guardrail down there, he rolls it on over.
For all intents and purposes, when he turned it to the left, he high-sided it. A motorcycle terminology, he high-sided it, and it just went over on him. But the soft suspension, I think, helped him.
A brand new race truck, a monster truck with fiberglass, and look at the damage. We're not sure how bad the superstructure was damaged, but perhaps we'll have a chance, Dale Army, to talk to Gary Porter.
Gary, real quick, let me grab you. First of all, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Do you have any idea what caused it?
Well, I hit that second set of cars a little bit crooked. I started to let out of it, and I didn't know where the other guy was at. I said, well, I got to go for the win, and, I should have backed out and turned it, a little bit and slowed down, but I didn't, and the truck landed hard on the left side, and it started coming over this way, and I seen the pole, and I hit the brakes a little bit too hard, I think.
We're glad you're okay. We'll see you another day.
Okay, thank you.
So Gary Porter will have some work to do now as he surveys the damage on Carolina Crusher. A good crowd on hand, bathed in sunshine here in the state of Tennessee as they pull the Crusher off the racetrack. More to come. Memphis, Tennessee.
Gary, right now we're going to have an opportunity to see the old and the new. The old will be represented by Steve Hess. He'll be going against Jack Willman. Willman in the right lane. New suspension, the softer suspension. Now, Hess is a real strong truck in the far lane, but it's an older style truck. You should be able to see on this run the difference in the suspension. It should be softer on the right side, bouncy on the left side. Let's see what happens.
Well, Willman cut a good light, had the big advantage from the very start, but look at that old truck bounce.
Yeah, the stiff suspension is just not the way to go. They say they want to build them now to where they act like a sponge. They actually absorb the impact.
Well, watch from this camera angle the suspension work in the newer truck on the near lane.
See, Hess is bounced in the background already. Meanwhile, Torres, he's already gone to the final jump.
So young Jack Willman will advance. He finds someone he knows up in the crowd, and he'll advance on to round 2 competition. Here's a good look at John Moore and No Problem out of Lafayette, Tennessee.
In the previous run, we were talking about the chassis differences. That Scott Stevens will be lining up in the other lane against Moore. The difference here is the length of the truck, okay? Stevens in the far lane, as he's being checked over by his crew chief, is a longer truck. That should be to his advantage. No Problem, lane closest to us, shorter wheelbase, a quicker truck, if you will. Yeah.
Right there, Stevens has the advantage, but goes almost out of bounds on one side. Now he almost goes out of bounds on the left side. He was all over that lane.
He's still trying to shut down. Okay, he gets her shut off, okay.
But watch again. First Army, he's off to his right. Now he comes over the second jump, and he heads to his left.
They're just launching in all kind of different ways today here in Memphis. But the longer truck is definitely the way to go. Now, speaking of launching, a driver that gets psyched up, you're looking at him, Steve Wilke.
Steve Wilke in the Chevrolet USA-1, and he goes against the Ford. Bigfoot with Andy Brass. Round 1 competition, and it won't get any better than this shootout right here.
For years, everybody's had a favorite. If you like Chevrolet, you pull for the white truck. If you like Ford, you pull for the blue truck. This race could be worth the price of admission. Everything's going to go down right now. What happened? Brass drills him on the line. Wilke's going to pull back. Brass is not going to let him.
There is nobody off the line any better than Andy Brass. He cuts the best slide of anybody here this weekend.
It's amazing how quick that 13,000-pound truck reacts to that young man.
Look again, the competition is over right there as they go over that first set of cars.
He lands after the first jump, the truck settles, it goes straight, and he drives it literally out the back door, Gary.
Everybody's scratching their head, including Fred Schaefer there. Let's talk to Andy Brass.
Andy, you're going to be going against Scott Stevens next round.
Yeah, it is. Now, I'm kind of watching Scott run a little bit. I see he took the other lane. We're taking the left lane here today. I see some guys having some problems over here, so we figured, well, we're going to try it because it's going to be a lane that everybody ends up in. And I think I might just go ahead and throw Scott in the right. The right lane does look a little worse than the left, so we're just going to kind of play it easy and throw a little lane change today on these guys.
All right, let's get ready now for round 2 competition here at the Memphis Motorsports Park. It will be Barefoot taking on Nightlife in round 2. Also in round 2, the Carolina Crusher, if he can continue, against Taurus. And we'll have King Crunch, as just mentioned, against Andy Brass in Bigfoot.
Well, Gary, the quick winner this round automatically goes into the final. It'll be important.
Well, they're taping up the Carolina Crusher, so hopefully Gary Porter will be able to continue here in Memphis, Tennessee, as a number of crew members from other trucks are also helping out. And Gary is hard at work. A lot of glory in driving, not a lot of glory in working on them. As we take a look at Fred Schaefer in Barefoot out of Pontoon Beach, Illinois. Barefoot against Nightlife. There is Wayne Smozanik.
He's out of Jupiter, Florida. He's a new driver to the sport. Wayne's doing an awfully good job. But I want you to notice the front window right now. The camera shows it to you on Barefoot. He's hitting so hard he actually popped the window out.
And Schaefer has a problem.
Hey, Gary, Wayne wins. Wayne wins.
The newcomer will go on to the semifinals. 8.17 the time to beat now, because somebody will get a bye to the finals.
Gary, that's an upset of all upsets in the sport. This guy had quick qualifying time of the day, had the field covered, but he's going on a trailer.
Well, the newcomer, Wayne, continues on into our semifinals. Why don't you run down and get a word with Fred, find out what the problem was.
Word we got is you were down a cylinder when you went to the starting line.
As far as I know, there's nothing wrong with the truck. It's a kill box. You know, it's new, and they had to have them for this race, and they've been having problems with them, and the kill box looks like it put me out.
Okay, because the engine, I was standing half track, it was just a clean cut like you turned the ignition off.
That's exactly what happened to it, and they ain't gonna do anything about it. It's my way of losing a race, I guess.
You don't have any recourse at all?
Well, they said I was out. I mean, what are you supposed to do? I come out here and I get fast time 2 days in a row, and this is what happens to me, so that's all I can do.
So a frustrated Fred Schaefer becomes a spectator, but this man, Wayne Smozanik, will continue on in competition. Another truck that they hope to see in competition is the Carolina Crusher, and there is Gary Porter in that bright yellow hat working under the race truck. And here is Scott Stevens in the Auto Value King Crunch. And his competition will be Andy Brass in Bigfoot 8.
Well, Gary, as we've traveled all over the country, anybody that follows this sport knows these guys have gone tooth and nail after each other. Well, what's more appropriate in Memphis than, as we've said it before, the Battle of the Blues? Who's going to win it, Ford or Chevrolet?
Well, it looks like Andy Brass in the Ford right now has the measure, and he'll take the victory. Oh, that is a combination of equipment and driver.
Yeah, there was a rhythm set up there. Andy Brass has just got a seat of the pants feel for driving that monster truck.
The time right there is 7.57. 7.57. That will be the quickest time thus far.
Hey, but look who's coming back in, Gary.
Yeah,
the Carolina Crusher, yeah.
And listen to the fans. They love it. They can certainly appreciate the work that was done to get that one back in competition. On the replay, look at Scott Stevens. He was in trouble before he ever got to that first jump. And the measure of victory going to Andy Brass in Bigfoot. But watch as we continue on. Scott Stevens almost runs out of runoff space. The shutdown area almost not long enough. He almost collects that guardrail. Let's go down and talk to Andy Brass.
Let me ask you a real quick question. What do you think about this Chevrolet Barefoot not getting past this round? He's upset. Says there's a malfunction in the electrical system. No problem to him whatsoever. He's ready to go racing, but there's a problem somewhere.
Yeah, he is. You know, a lot of the guys are all ready and they're hyped to go racing and stuff. Fred runs one of the newer Linko transmissions, you know, and to me that's what it looked like happened. He come off the line, his Linko just went into neutral. If it would have been an electrical problem, I think his truck would have died and still stayed running.
Andy makes an interesting point. Once you hit that kill switch, you can't restart the truck until you reset both the truck and the kill box itself.
That's exactly right, Gary.
We take a look at Gary Porter. They've gone to work. That truck is back in competition, the Carolina Crusher.
Gary, you've been around racing a long time. things like this always happen, don't they? There's something that gets these guys going, and the Crusher is trying to pull the Cinderella story of the day, but Taurus is not going to be reading the same book that the Crusher is.
Jack Willman Jr., the far lane. Gary Porter, the near lane. And it looks like the youngster may have the advantage. Yes, Willman will win it.
Gary, did you see how far he cleared the last set of cars? And look at the time.
That will give him the bye to the finals. 7.56 is Dan with a big thumbs up. He runs over to congratulate Junior on his victory over Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher.
You know, Gary, I noticed something else about that team. Those guys run everywhere they go. Watch this. They won't walk anywhere. Watch this. Got to run. There you go. What'd I say?
Just a tad animated as well.
Hey, that's why they're good, I guess. They're going to the final. That's all that counts.
I'm wondering, though, Army, if there's a problem with Taurus. Because of all that animation, they acted like there might be something they had to rectify before the championship round. Let's talk to the driver, young Jack.
Everything's happening real quick. What's going on out there?
I broke some more stuff off the back suspension. It's bottoming out, and my dad, which is the owner of the truck, he's taking it back to get the repairs done for the next round.
Okay, what he's talking about, I'm going to let you go. You can take off. The situation is the pit area is about a quarter of a mile away. He's got to come back in the station lanes to get ready to go. Dad's taking the truck back. Everybody's running around here. It's typical thrashing. We're getting ready to go into the finals. Hang on.
Young Jack will go to the finals. He has a bye from the semifinals, which are actually coming up next. Stay with us.
Put your sweet lips a little.
Four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Spring Nationals from Memphis Motorsports Park. We are ready for semifinal action. Of course, Taurus with the bye to the finals. We now look at Nightlife against Bigfoot.
Gary, we were talking earlier about Cinderella stories. This Nightlife could be the Cinderella story. We know Andy Brass has been here before, but this kid coming out, like we say, let Wayne do it. Well, Wayne's doing a pretty good job today to be a new driver in this truck.
But there's nothing like experience in the cockpit, and this young man right here from St. Louis, Andy Brass, has the equipment, he has the experience, and he has the talent. It would be a tall order for Nightlife to beat Bigfoot in this one.
We're going to find out real quick.
It's all over right there.
Whoa, wait a minute. Look here. Okay, Brass comes back. Boy, he's just got a natural feel for that truck. It's amazing that you actually have something called finesse with a 13,000-pound truck. But you look at it, Gary, how he smooths it back in right there.
Andy Brass could conduct a driving clinic with Bigfoot 8. Well, there's the man that lost that round, but we'll see more of him in the future. Let's go down right now, there's a big smile, and talk to young Jack Willman before the finals.
Okay, Jack, you and Bigfoot in the final, you've been there before. Can you handle him?
I'm going to give him my best shot. You know, he's a tough competitor, and number 8, I think, is our best Bigfoot, and I'm going to give it my best shot.
So it will be Chevrolet versus Ford in the championship. The fans are ready here in Memphis. These four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Nationals are loaded with activities for the truck enthusiasts as well as the entire family. For information, call or write the Special Events Company. Well, the youngster, it's almost David and Goliath, but there is a look at Jack Willman Jr. in Taurus, the GMC, a truck owned by his father. He will take on Andy Brass and Bigfoot. The road to the final, Taurus defeated Nightmare and the Carolina Crusher, and then he had a bye to the finals, whereas Bigfoot defeated USA-1, King Crunch, and Nightlife. And there's a look at Bigfoot 8.
There's an old saying in motorsports, Gary Lee, and you know it as well as I do. The difference between men and boys is the price of their toys. And ironically, the two biggest toy manufacturers in the country are sponsoring each of the competitors. The Tonka toy, it'll be on the side of the Taurus truck. The Mattel Hot Wheel, it goes to the side of Bigfoot. The classic Chevrolet, Ford, new driver, manufacturers, everything for a Hollywood motion picture script is going to be on the line right here. This could be the best monster truck race ever. Side by side, a half-track, Gary Lee.
It's still side by side, almost a photo finish.
I can't call
Who won it? I can't tell. Who won that thing?
That could be. We could have just seen the best monster truck race ever. Side by side, neither kid would blink. Nobody wanted to back off on the other guy. What a race here in Memphis.
You have to be impressed, Army, with this youngster, Jack Willman Jr. He went up against the most formidable of foes in Bigfoot, and he may have beaten him. Let's watch right here. Oh, it looks like, I won't call it.
We're going to let the track crew tell us who won that. I don't know. I've seen a lot. I've been around a lot. That's the best I've ever seen, Gary Lee.
Well, who are they going to give it to? Watch this. Let's watch from this angle as Jack Willman Sr. takes a look, and I can't tell from that angle.
No, that's the
He
third
seems to think that perhaps his son has won. As we take a look one more time, Army, see if you can't get those two drivers together to get their comments, as once again it is too close from our vantage point to call.
Okay, the word we get, Gary, coming over the headset, winner goes to the Chevrolet by 4/1000 of a second. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, it was a tough run, you know, Bigfoot 8, you know, it's the toughest truck Bigfoot's got, and it's tough to beat.
Let me bounce over here to Andy. Andy, congratulations, son. That was super. I played this game a long time, gentlemen. That had to be the best monster truck race I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was a real close race, probably the hardest one I've had to run. Taurus's new truck it's hard to beat, and I knew we was going to have to pull a good light on him to get him, and all the way down through there it was close, and I knew it was going to be close at the end.
Well, one of the questions we had at the beginning of the show, have the new technology trucks arrived? I think the answer is yes, because they were both in the final today. Gary?
Let's take a ride with Jack Willman Jr. in perhaps the best monster truck race ever. He's on the hammer hard over the first set of jumps as he defeats Andy Brass in Bigfoot. Our congratulations to Jack Willman Jr. Well, for Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. That wraps it up. Thanks for joining us here in Memphis, Tennessee. We'll see you next week for another edition of Trucks and Tractor Power. Now, here's news about an exciting new home video from Diamond P Sports. It's time to shake, battle, and roll. Call 1-800-453-2800 for 70 minutes of awesome air-grabbing rooster tail spring action from the worlds of monster truck racing, truck and tractor pulling, and mud bogging. Relive the great moments of thrilling side-by-side monster truck racing. Feel the ground shake from the raw power of truck and tractor pulling. And get down and dirty as the best mud racers battle the slime for the fastest time. All this incredible action on one video cassette just by calling 1-800-453-2800. That's 1-800-453-2800. Strap up for a ride on the wild side. It's time to shake, battle, and roll.